Hello everyone, how are you doing today? I hope everyone is well. When I thought about plans for today's class, I really felt like we needed strength in these times. So we not only to be strong for ourselves, but to be strong for others in the world, to set examples for others in the world. So our class is called Simple Yet Demanding, so that we build strength within the body, and not only in the body, but also within the mind and heart. And to begin with, I want to share a little bit of a reading from Meditations of Hope and Healing, Peace in Our Hearts, Peace in Our Mind. And the book was written by Ruth Fishel. And for today, she says, in troubled times, it is hard to feel peaceful. In difficult times, it is hard to feel peaceful. I can take time to allow myself to be with thoughts of peace, no matter what I am going through today. I can take time and fill myself with peaceful energy, no matter what else I'm feeling today. So that's a good positive note for our practice today. So if you would, take a comfortable seated posture. And I'll just tell you now, I'll have to be looking through my notes for the sequence because I know I won't be able to remember it all. So if you would, draw the flesh away from your sitting bones. And then with an inhalation, feel the buttock bones drop. And then press the feet down. And then lift through your spine. Get nice and tall through the spine. And then slowly allow your eyes to close. Or allow your gaze to be gently down towards the front edge of your mat. So let's take a few moments to allow our attention to turn inward, away from the outside world. We all might have 99 problems or more, but for now, let's set those aside and let ourselves have at least an hour without that stress and tension. So begin to visit the breath. Feel the breath move in through your nose. Feel the breath move out. And offer appreciation for that breath in and breath out, because there are so many in the world now that are struggling for that breath. And now set an intention for your practice so that as we move through the practice, it has a purpose. Place your hands together in front of your heart center. Allow the thumbs to rest at the breastbone. And with your exhalation, slowly bow head to heart. Release your hands down. Gently open your eyes and lift your gaze. So let's start by taking the arms out to the side. Inhale your arms up and overhead. Interlace your fingers. Spin your palms upward to the ceiling. Bow your chin to the chest. So root into your buttock bones. Equally lift the sides of the waist. Lift the bottom of the belly to support that lift. Allow the shoulder blades to rise upward. Inner elbows hug in. Knuckle mounds lift to the ceiling. And then slowly release your hands and lift your gaze. Let's take an easy twist to the left. And center, easy twist to the right. And center, extend the legs forward in staff pose Dandasana. We'll do a thigh press, pressing the back of the legs towards the floor, resetting the knee joints. So press down with your hands to lift up. Press your thigh bones in and down. Release, press, release, squeeze and press, release, and then do about 6 more on your own. And then bring the soles of your feet together. Press the bottoms of the feet towards each other. Contract the back of the legs to each other. Lengthen the inner groins to the knees and the knees away from the body. Lift your belly, lift your heart. And then press the outer edges of the feet together. To open your feet like a book. Now close the feet, support the legs, draw the legs up, extend the legs forward, press them down one last time. And then let's do just a little bit of a warm-up with downward facing dog, possibly walking your dog. And then we'll get more into our practice. So from tabletop, knees under the pelvis, hands under the shoulders, walk your hands one hand width forward of its original placement. So the shoulder is at a diagonal, the arm is at a diagonal to the shoulder. For tighter hands or wrist, you might need to spin your palms out slightly so the fingertips point away from the front edge of your mat. But if your wrists are okay, have fingertips, the middle finger pointing forward. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up and back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now let's immediately check that to make sure our dog pose is long enough. So as you inhale, come forward. You really shouldn't have to move your feet away, meaning this. So plank. And then exhale back, downward facing dog. So let's walk the dog by bending your left knee, press your right heel towards the floor, and then slowly switch out. And switch, and switch. And let's do one more. And then lift high up onto your toes and push your hands down into the floor to help to assist lengthening the spine backwards. And then drop your knees down to the floor. Rock your hips back. Take a child's pose. And then inhale forward. Gently rock your hips towards the floor. Modified up dog or modified cobra. Exhale back down, child's pose. Come forward. Hips towards the floor, modified upward facing dog / cobra. And then rock back. And now let's rock back one more time. And then walk your hands back up underneath your shoulders. Push yourself upward. Move some of my props out of the way. And then we'll come onto the back body for Supta Baddha Konasana. So the first time we do this, we're going to be allowing the legs to drop apart and then together at a slower rate. And then we'll do it at a faster rate. Okay? So if you need support for your head, put that there. Well, how do you know? If your chin is jutting higher than the forehead, you need some support. So recline down onto your mat. And then we'll begin with legs apart. So feet are together. Now when the legs meet at the top, feet will be on the mat. So as you inhale, very slowly draw the legs together. And as you exhale, very slowly let the legs drop apart. Inhaling, legs come together. Exhaling, slow and controlled, let them drop towards the floor. Inhaling, lift. Exhaling. Now, I want us to think about taking the legs through quicksand. So it's going to be really working hard to draw the legs towards each other. You might feel muscle tissue begin to tire. We have 2 more. So there might be some shaking in the legs. So now we're going to do it for 6 times a little faster. So as you inhale, close the legs. As you exhale, open. Inhale, close. Exhale, open. Inhale, close. Exhale, open. 3 more. Now just feel within the body. You might feel some sensation in the inner thighs. So now, and I didn't tell you earlier, but you do need your block or blocks. I think we only just mainly need one. But the block is going to go between my knees. Now, if you're practicing along at home and you're like, well, this is just too much for me to do, then by all means hold on to the sides of your sticky mat. Okay, so there is a slight curve in the lumbar spine, but ground the back body to the floor and lift your feet off of the floor about 1 inch or so. They just barely hover over the mat. One more breath, and then let the feet come to the floor. So we have 2 more like that. Okay. So with an inhalation, lift the feet about 1 inch off the floor. And then float the feet down. And 1 more time. So as you inhale, float your feet off the floor. Squeeze the inner thighs to the blocks. And lower down. So now we're going to add a little more to this. But we'll lift the feet off the floor, and then we'll lift the head, neck, and chest off the floor and hold the arms forward for 3 breaths. So that was just a quick demo. Let's do it together, okay? So hug your inner thighs to the block, lift your feet off the floor. And then inhale, lift the torso a little bit off the floor. Squeeze the block, feet active, belly active, arms active. 1 more breath. And lower down. Now let's repeat that. Okay. So squeeze the block. Lift the feet off the floor about 1 inch. Curl the upper body away from the floor. 3 breaths. and lower down. So I have one more planned in this sequence, but you could do as many as 6 if you wanted to, or 9. But for the length of the video, we'll stick with 3 today. Lift the feet off the floor. Lift the upper body away from the floor. 3 breaths. And down you come. Set the block off to the side. Extend the legs out and take a full body stretch as you exhale. Extend through your heels. Extend through your fingertips. Draw the buttocks towards the heels. And then lower your arms down by your sides. Bend your knees. Feet to the floor very slowly. Roll over. Push yourself upward. Now we're going to look at this core activation a little bit more from seated. And we will lift. We can lean back and keep hands to the floor if needed, but we can also have the arms forward in just a little bit. So take a deep breath in. And lift the feet off the mat. Squeeze the inner thighs to the blocks. Woohoo! I feel my legs quivering. And float the feet down. Okay, so let's try it again. Hands back if you need to. Squeeze the inner thighs to the block. Lift the feet off the floor. And down. Okay? So let's try it one more time. Gently rock back if you need to. Squeeze the block, lift the legs off the floor a little bit. And feet to the floor. Hopefully you felt that a little bit through here. Okay. Now let's look at boat pose a little bit differently. We're going to put the block behind the knees, and you can hold on to the block. Just gives you a little bit more support to keep the torso upright. So here we'll lift the legs pretty close to level, the lower leg level with the knees. And then bring the feet down. So let's repeat that another time, and then we'll practice another way. So lift the torso, rock back a little bit, not a lot, but keep the chest lifted. Float the feet off the floor. 3 deep breaths, active feet, active legs. And then feet come down. We'll set the block off to the side this time. And we can hold behind the knees and see what happens here. Okay? So step your feet and legs together, lift your chest. Rock back a little bit, lift your legs. Can you extend your arms forward? And then feet to floor. So if you would like to continue on with that, pause the video, but for time's sake, we're going to continue on. So I'm going to sit in Sukhasana. Okay? And we're just going to do some like torso circles. So like we're stirring a big pot. So I'm going to draw my torso over to my left and then forward and back. Let's do 3 more. Might feel it in your hips somewhere, I sure do. And then center. Now, I'm going to turn around again, and we'll try one more boat pose. You choose. one of those options. You can do just toes and feet off the floor. You can do arms forward. You can do legs level. Just choose one. Do it along with me. And then feet come down. Set the block off to the side again. Switch the cross of your legs for Sukhasana. And let's do the barrel or the trunk circles the opposite direction. So you're going to go to your right and around. One more time. And now let's look at boat pose one last time. Choose one of the variations that work for you. I'll kind of go back through a different variation for you just in case you liked this one. Lift your chest, lift your legs, activate through your feet. Engage your belly. And then lower down. So I'll set the block off to the side. And we're going to come up into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, but with some leg circles. Okay, so from that tabletop position, walk that hand one hand width forward. And then with your exhale, tuck your toes under, lift your hips up and back. And then shift your weight over onto your left leg. And bring your right leg up and make some circles. Big circles. Try not to collapse into your left arm. Let's do one more. Bring the foot towards the floor. And then we're going to come forward and into plank. We're going to hold it for, let's say, 3 breaths. You can do modified if needed. Inner elbows face each other. And don't let your head drop because your head is heavy. And then exhale back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Shift your weight over onto your right foot. Lift your left leg up. Make your circles. You can switch the reverse. Let's do one more. And then foot to the floor, come forward, plank or modified. 3 breaths. Inner elbows face each other, head stays lifted. Gazes to the front corner of your mat or between your hands. And then drop your knees to the floor. Rock your hips back. Take a child's pose or Adho Mukha Virasana. Child's pose is with the arms wrapped behind you. And that might work well for you too. And then use your hands to push yourself upward. So how is that so far? Okay. So I'm going to now put a blanket down for my knees. And yeah, let's just see. Okay, so from tabletop, let's extend your right leg back, right foot to the floor. And so this would be your modified version versus lifting the leg level with the pelvis. Notice if you sag on your right side, meaning do you drop your hip down? Do you roll your hip open? Can you have the pelvis level? So could you put a block back there and keep it balanced? Okay? So push through the 4 points of your foot. Push your hands down into the floor. Inner elbows face each other here. And then lower the right leg. And let's try the other side. So Left toes go back. And then, no, you can stay here or float the leg up. We'll hold for 3 breaths. Notice if you're sagging the left hip or rolling it away from the mat. Are the kneecaps and thighs engaged? Is the belly engaged? Are the hands pressing down? And then lower that foot to the floor, rock your hips back. Press your hands into the floor, fingertips into the floor. And lift the forearms away from the floor. And then slowly come back up. So now we add on, let's take the right leg back. Lift the right leg level with your pelvis. And extend your left arm out to the side. Palm is down, but it's in line with the shoulder. Now, keep your core engaged. Right foot's flexed in. Spin the palm so it faces forward. You're actually rotating the humerus in its socket, and then sweep it alongside the ear. Lower the hand down. Let's switch. Extend your left leg back. Know that you can stay here or lift it level with the pelvis. Take your right arm off to the side, palm down. Notice how that might challenge the balance. Spin the palm forward and then sweep it alongside the ear. And then drop the hand down, rock the hips back. Adho Mukha Virasana or Child's Pose. And then slowly lift yourself upward. Let's fold the blanket up and set it off to the side. And we'll set back up for downward facing dog, into plank, and then down into Sphinx pose. And then we have a little more core work from there, okay? So from tabletop, walk your hands one hand width forward. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up. Adho Mukha Svanasana. So ground the knuckle mounds into the floor and push to lengthen the spine away from the hands. And then engage your kneecaps and thighs and lift your sitting bones up. As you inhale, come forward and into plank. We'll hold plank pose for a breath or two. And then drop your knees to the floor and very slowly lower the forearms down onto the mat. Okay. So there are a couple of actions here. The palms will press down and the forearms are going to press down. But then we'll start lifting parts of the body up and away from the floor. Okay, so let's try this. We have 3 times. Okay, so press your forearms and palms down, and then lift your front ribs, and then curl the navel away from the floor, curl the hip points away from the floor, and the tops of the thighs, and then curl your sitting bones down as you lift your hip points a bit more. And then when we lower down, the tops of the thighs come down, the hip points come down, the navel comes down, and so do the front of the ribs. Now let's repeat that. Press the palms and arms down, lift your front ribs, lift the navel away from the floor, lift the hip points, lift the tops of the thighs, and curl the sitting bones towards the mat. And then to come down, tops of thighs, hip points, navel, front ribs. Let's try one more time. Press the palms and forearms down. Lift the front ribs up and away from the mat. Curl the navel away from the mat. Hip points away. Tops of thighs away. Sitting bones draw towards the heels or towards the mat. As you exhale, lower the tops of the thighs, lower the hip points, lower the navel, lower the ribs. Woohoo! Now, let's bring our hands back by the shoulders, push down, rock back, and into downward facing dog. So if you need a blanket here, this would be a good time to put it down because we'll be going into a right leg forward lunge. So lift high onto your hips and look forward. And step your right foot forward and your left knee down. Now, I should have told you, you could have gotten your blocks for a little extra support if needed. Okay, so I'm going to use the blocks to steady myself. So when I press the back foot down and lengthen the front thigh bone down, and then move the inner left hip towards the inner right knee. And then let's take the arms straight up and overhead and then make a fist like you're pulling down on a bar. And then as you exhale, pull down like you're going through quicksand. And then inhale, lift the arms up. And then exhale, pull down. And inhale, lift up. And exhale, pull down, and inhale, lift up. Bring your hands back down to the mat, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward plank. Make your way down onto the mat for Sphinx pose. Okay? So now we press the arms down. Palms down, lift your front ribs, lift your navel, lift your hip points, lift the tops of your thighs, curl the buttock bones towards the floor, and as you exhale, tops of thighs come down, hip points down, navel down, ribs down, Sphinx pose. And then bring the hands back by the shoulders, lift up and back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward. Left foot forward, right knee down. Got my blocks just in case I need them for balance. Now press the back foot down, lengthen the thigh bone down, move your inner right hip towards your inner left knee. That helps to balance the pelvis, and then sweep your arms up and overhead like you're grabbing a hold of a bar. As you exhale, pull down like you're going through quicksand. And as you inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, pull down. And as you inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, pull down. As you inhale, lift up. As you exhale, bring your hands towards the floor. Step back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a breather here if needed. Inhale, look forward. Step your right foot forward. And keep your back leg off the floor, but rise up. Okay. Sweep the arms up again. This time, exhale, pull down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, pull down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, pull down. Inhale, lift up. Bring the hands back to the floor. Downward facing dog. Inhale, forward plank. Knees down, chest and chin down. Cobra. Not cobra, Sphinx. Okay? So now we'll be lifting the knees off the floor. So press the forearms down, palms down. Lift the front ribs. Lift the navel. Curl the hip points away from the mat. Curl the tops of the thighs away from the mat. Tuck your toes under. Forearm plank. Drop your knees down. Release the tops of your feet. Tops of thighs down. Hip points down. Navel down. Ribs down. Sphinx pose. Hands by your chest. Lift up and back. Downward facing dog. Take a couple of breathers here. If you're pooped, Adho Mukha Virasana or Balasana, child's pose. Inhale, look forward. Step your left foot forward. Step your back leg in a little bit if needed. Otherwise, rise up, high lunge. Sweep the arms up and overhead. Imagine you've got that bar. Exhale, pull down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pull down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pull down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back down. Downward facing dog. Breather. And then drop your knees to the floor. Walk your hands back so they're directly underneath the shoulders. And we'll be working a muscle group called the serratus. And it's like the 5 fingers that wrap around on the back side and towards the front side. And for a lot of us, that can be weak. So we're gonna do what's called serratus push-ups. Now, when I do this, I'll be collapsing the space between the shoulder blades, closing the shoulder blades towards each other, and then when I lift, I'll spread the shoulder blades, okay? So let's give it a try. Inhale here. As you exhale, close the shoulder blades towards each other. You'll feel the space between the shoulder blade narrow. And then as you inhale, press into the floor and spread that space. Now it's not cat pose, Marjarasana. And then slowly exhale, close the space. And inhale, open the space. Exhale, close the space. 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 Inhale, open the space. Walk your hands one hand width forward. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now inhale, come forward. Shoulders over wrist again, plank. Take a full breath here. And then exhale, drop your knees to the floor. And we work with the serratus push-ups from this position. Okay? So now exhale, close the space. Inhale, lift the space. Exhale, close the space. Inhale, lift the space. Exhale, close the space. Inhale, lift the space. Exhale, close. Inhale, lift. Exhale, close. Inhale, lift. One more time. Exhale, close. Inhale, lift. Tuck your toes under. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Never felt so good to be in a downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward, plank. Serratus push-ups in plank. Now, no, you can go back to the other side if you need to. Close the space, open the space. 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 One more. Close, open, Adho Mukha Svanasana or Balasana. One more breath. And let's inhale, look forward. Walk forward towards the front of your mat into Uttanasana. Now, if you have osteoporosis, lift up onto your fingertips. Keep a flat back. And then bend the knees and inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. So we're going to start putting together a little vinyasa. I think I might need to move my mat back. Okay. All right, let's see what happens here. It's Uttanasana into Utkatasana. Uttanasana and inhale up. So I'll do one facing you and then I'll do one sideways, okay? And then I'll turn back to center. So let's start here, hands to heart center. As you inhale, take your arms up. As you exhale, bend your knees, bow forward, Uttanasana. As you inhale, lift up, Utkatasana, fierce pose. And as you exhale, Uttanasana. Bend your knees, palms come together. Inhale up, exhale, hands to heart. I'll turn sideways. Inhaling, lift up, exhale, bend, bow forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Bend knees, palms together, inhale up. Exhale, hands to the heart. So let's throw in one more just for good measures, okay? Palms together, inhale, lift up. Exhale, bend the knees, bow forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose, fierce pose, not chair pose. Looks like a chair. Exhale down, Uttanasana. Bend the knees, palms come together. Inhale up, exhale, hands to heart. So now, let's look at half sun salutes, okay? And so you can have blocks towards the front of your mat if you need them. I don't necessarily need them, but they're there just in case. And we'll change the position with the arms, okay? So this time we'll sweep the arms out to the side. So Tadasana, as you inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, swan dive down, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift flat back. Exhale, bow. Bend your knees. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bow. Uttanasana, bend knees. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale, bend and bow. Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Bend the knees. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Woohoo! Now, we're going to be adding on for a full salutation and a mini push-up, okay? We'll do it from a modified plank. All right, so palms come together at my heart center. I want to connect back in with the intention that I set for my class. Exhale, bow chin to chest. As I inhale, I want to follow my thumbs upward. As I exhale, bend knees. Keep a long spine, bow forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift flat back. Exhale, bow, bend knees. Step the right foot back, right knee down. Inhaling, look up. Now you can bring your blocks in if you need it, so look up. Hands come to the mat. Step your left foot back. We'll be in plank. Drop the knees down towards the floor and move the block out of the way. And we can release the tops of the feet down. So here's the mini push-up. Spin your elbow points forward and then exhale, lower about halfway down and push up. And then tuck the toes under, Lift up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward. Step your right foot forward, left knee down, blocks if you need them. Inhaling, look up. Exhaling, step forward, Uttanasana. Bend your knees, sink your hips low, palms together. Inhale, up. Exhale, hands to heart. Now we gotta balance it out by doing the other side. Exhale, bow chin to chest. Inhaling, look up. Exhaling, bend knees, bow forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step back with your left foot, left knee down. Okay? Now plant the hands if you can or use your blocks. Step back and into plank. Now drop the knees to the floor, release the tops of the feet, spin the elbow points forward, and then lower down about halfway and push up. Tuck your toes under, exhale back, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward. Left foot forward, right knee down. Inhaling, look up. Exhaling, step forward, Uttanasana. Bend the knees, palms come together. Inhale, up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Stand and feel in Tadasana. So now, we'll look at Virabhadrasana 2, then taking it into dog and plank with a serratus push-up, and then back to dog, and then we'll go to the other side. So from the middle of your mat, inhale, bring your hands up. Exhale, bend your knees. Step or jump, feet apart. Turn your right foot, your left foot in, your right leg out, full 90. As you exhale, bend your front knee towards 90 degrees. Trying to get this as close to level as you possibly can. So push into your back leg. Lift the energy up from the earth into the shin. Plug the thigh bone into the hip socket. Lift the belly. Spin the belly back to your left. Look over your front hand. And then windmill your hands down towards the floor. High lunge, step back plank. Dog pose. Inhale forward and into plank. Do your serratus push up. 1, 2, 3. Exhale back. Downward facing dog. And then walk your feet forward. Uttanasana. Bend knees and up you come. Hands to heart. Now let's come back to mid-mat. Feet together, Tadasana. Inhale, bring your hands up. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, jump your feet apart. Turn your right leg in 15 or 20 degrees, your left leg out 90. And now, exhale, bend your front knee. Okay? So push into your outer back heel, press down into your front foot, but let the energy travel up the thigh shin bone. Plug the femur into the socket, lift the belly, but rotate the belly back to the right. Look over your front hand. Virabhadrasana 2. And then windmill the hand down to the floor. You're in a high lunge. Step back dog. Inhale, forward plank. 3 serratus push-ups. Collapse, lift. Collapse the shoulder blades together, lift. Move the shoulder blades together, lift. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward. Tippy toe forward, Uttanasana. Bend the knees, palms together. Inhale, up. Exhale, hands to heart. Stand in Tadasana and feel. Alrighty, how are we doing? So now we're going to come back down onto the back body, cool things down just a little bit. Want to work with bridge pose with the block between the knees. So I'm going to put the short end of the block towards my face. Now press the feet down, hug your inner thighs into the block, shoulder blades down, and as you inhale, lift your hips up. And as you exhale, come down. And as you inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, come down. And as you inhale, lift up. This time, roll the shoulders under the body. Press the back of your arms and hands down to get a higher lift. And then release the shoulders, and down you come. So let's set the block off to the side. And then just step your feet not quite as wide as your sticky mat. You let your arms be at a T formation or cactus, either one. And then with the exhale, just let your legs drop a little bit to your left. So we're not twisting, we're rotating the thigh bones and the sockets. And then up to center, back to your left. And center and right. And center and left. And center and right. And center. Walk your feet in. Hug your right knee into your chest as you slide your left leg out. Keep your left leg active. And take the arms overhead, leg out. Exhale, both knees into the chest. Wrong. Left knee into the chest. Push out through your right foot. And then let's extend that leg out. Take a full body stretch. And lower arms down by your sides. Bend your knees. Roll over to your right. Let's get our props. We'll set up for Shavasana. Okay, so I'm going to put a blanket under my head. And then I want to take the other blanket and create a roll. The blankets are nice and fat and fluffy after they've been washed. So the blanket's going to go underneath the knees. And I want to move everything out of my way so that it's not affecting my energy. Now I have the back of the legs supported, the back of my neck and head supported. I'm going to scoop the buttock flesh towards the heels. Turn the palms upward. Let them be about 6 inches away from your hips. And then allow the body to settle down. So notice how the body's resting to the floor. Start with your heels. Maybe they need to be turned out a little bit more. Notice how the back of the knees rest to your support. Notice if you have one buttock cheek a little more spread than the other, can you just readjust a tad? How do the shoulder blades rest to the floor? How about the arms? Open and close the mouth a time or two to release any tension. Relax the eyes. So please know that you can stay here longer in Shavasana if you wish, but for purposes of the video, I'll be closing now. or ending now, so bend the knees, feet to mat, roll to your right, push yourself upward. I'm going to reposition the blanket so that I can elevate myself back up onto the blanket. And I want to recall what I read earlier today. In troubled times, it is hard to feel peaceful. In difficult times, it is hard to feel peaceful. I can take time to allow myself to be with thoughts of peace, no matter what I'm going through today. I can take time and feel myself with peaceful energy, no matter what else I am feeling today. I know sometimes that's hard, but my yoga teacher said, if he said this once, he said it 1,000 times. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. So I try to hold on to that. So if you would, please join palms together in front of your heart center. And with your exhalation, slowly bow wisdom of your mind to the wisdom within the heart. And as you go about your day, may you always move from the wisdom of the heart. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.